Welcome back to the Whisper Knows. This is the place where stories don't scream, they whisper. Tonight's question is simple, and once you hear it, you won't be able to unhear it. Some places don't exist on maps, not because they're secret, not because they're protected, but because they refuse to stay. There are towns you can visit only once, streets you can walk down without ever finding again, houses that remember you even when you don't remember them. And then there are places that don't just disappear from memory, they disappear from reality. Some towns are there when you arrive and gone before you wake up. Not abandoned, not destroyed, just erased, as if someone flipped a switch and decided the world didn't need them anymore. Tonight's question is this: what if it's true that the town disappears every midnight? Not burns down, not evacuates, but vanishes, as if the streets fold inward, as if the buildings hold their breath, as if the town itself knows exactly when it's time to stop existing. And the worst part isn't that the town disappears, it's what happens to the people who don't leave in time.
The road didn't have a name. Daniel noticed that first, even before his GPS lost signal. There was no sign, no marker, no indication that anyone was meant to drive this way. And yet the road was perfect. Smooth asphalt, fresh paint lines, no cracks. It looked like someone had paved it yesterday. Daniel checked the dashboard clock, 11:41 p.m. He had been driving for hours, chasing a shortcut his navigation app had suggested before it abruptly went blank. No rerouting, no error message, just a blue screen and silence, like the phone had decided it wasn't allowed to guide him any farther. His headlights carved a narrow tunnel through the trees. The forest on both sides felt uniform, too uniform. The trunks rose straight and close together, and the branches above knitted into a dark ceiling. He kept waiting for something to change, a turn, a widening shoulder, a sign that said he'd made a mistake. But the road stayed steady, and the darkness stayed patient. It was almost midnight when the town appeared, not gradually, not in the distance. One second there was nothing but road and trees. The next, there were buildings. A gas station on the right, pumps standing under a flickering fluorescent canopy. A diner across the street, its neon sign buzzing weakly as if struggling to stay lit. A handful of houses lined up behind them, windows dark, porches empty. Daniel slowed the car, his stomach tightening. This wasn't how towns worked. There was no transition, no outskirts, no welcome sign announcing where he was. The town felt dropped into place, like a set piece, like it had been waiting somewhere out of sight and someone had slid it onto the road the moment Daniel was close enough to need it. Daniel pulled over near the diner and cut the engine. No insects, no wind, just stillness. When he opened the car door, the cold hit him. Not the sharp bite of winter air, not the damp chill of fog, just cold. A clean, controlled cold that didn't belong in the season. He glanced back at the road he'd come from. It was still there, but it looked thinner now, like a line drawn in charcoal, easy to smudge, easy to erase. Inside the diner, a bell chimed softly as Daniel stepped in. The place smelled of old coffee and something metallic underneath it. 3 booths were occupied. A man stared into a cup that had long gone cold. A couple sat side by side, hands folded neatly in their laps, not touching. An elderly woman stared at the wall, lips moving silently. No one looked up. Daniel cleared his throat. "Hey!" Nothing. The waitress appeared behind the counter, as if she'd been standing there the whole time. She looked normal enough, middle-aged, tired eyes, hair pinned back, but her movements were stiff. "You're late," she said. Daniel blinked. "Sorry?" She tilted her head slightly, studying him. "You're late," she repeated, as if that explained everything. Daniel forced a smile. "Late for what?" The waitress didn't answer right away. She glanced at the clock mounted above the kitchen door. 11:57 p.m. Then she leaned closer, lowering her voice. "For leaving." Daniel laughed, a short, nervous sound. "I just got here." Her expression didn't change. "Then you shouldn't stay."
Daniel ordered coffee. He needed something warm, something normal. The waitress poured it without asking how he liked it. Black, no steam. He wrapped his hands around the mug and felt nothing. It wasn't cold, it wasn't hot, it just existed. A perfect imitation of coffee, stopping at the surface. Around him, the other customers shifted in their seats, not randomly, together, like they were responding to something he couldn't hear. Daniel followed their gaze. The clock, 11:58. A man near the window whispered to no one in particular. 3 minutes. Daniel turned to him. 3 minutes until what? The man looked at Daniel then, really looked at him. His eyes were hollow, not tired, empty. "Until we're not," he said. Daniel felt a chill crawl up his spine. That's not funny. The man didn't smile. 11:59. The diner lights flickered. Once. Outside, the street lights dimmed, then steadied again. But something about the light was wrong now. Too flat, too even, like it wasn't casting shadows anymore. Daniel stood up. "Okay, what's going on?" The waitress grabbed his wrist. Her grip was cold, too strong. "If you're still here at midnight," she said, "you don't disappear with the town." Daniel swallowed. "Then what happens?" She released him. "You stay." The second hand on the clock ticked louder than it should have. 11:59:55. The people in the diner went perfectly still. No blinking, no breathing. Daniel backed toward the door. "I'm leaving." The waitress shook her head almost sadly. "You won't make it." 11:59:59. The clock clicked. The diner went silent. No breathing, no movement. And when the second hand reached the top, the world blinked. Not faded, not shook, blinked. The lights went out and came back on in the same instant. But when Daniel looked outside the diner window, the street was gone. The gas station, the houses, all of it, replaced by nothing, just darkness, endless, waiting. Daniel didn't scream. He couldn't. His body locked in place as his mind struggled to accept what his eyes were seeing. The diner was still there. The tables, the counter, the clock frozen at exactly midnight. But outside the windows, there was nothing. No road, no gas station, no houses, just a vast, impossible darkness stretching in every direction, as if the world had been erased beyond the glass. Daniel stepped closer to the window, heart pounding. He pressed his palm against it. The glass was warm, not from the diner's lights, from the darkness outside. He pulled his hand back instinctively. Behind him, a chair scraped softly across the floor. Daniel turned. The man who had been sitting by the window was standing now, staring at the empty space where the street used to be. "Every night," the man said calmly, "it's the same." Daniel swallowed. Where did everything go?" The man shrugged. "Nowhere. Elsewhere. Somewhere we're not allowed to follow." Daniel's breath came shallow. "Then where are we?"
The waitress answered without looking at him. "In what's left." Daniel laughed, sharp and panicked. "That's not an answer." She finally met his eyes. "It's the only one." Daniel rushed to the door and yanked it open. Beyond the threshold, there was no step, no ground, just blackness, not empty, occupied. He slammed the door shut and staggered back. "That's not possible," he whispered. The elderly woman in the booth turned toward him for the first time. Her lips stopped moving. "You didn't leave, so now the town won't either." Daniel frowned. "That doesn't make sense." She tilted her head. "It doesn't have to. It just has to keep you." The clock on the wall clicked once. Daniel jumped. The second hand moved again. 12:001. The town was gone, but time wasn't, and something was very patiently counting. Minutes passed, or maybe hours. Time felt thick inside the diner, stretched and sticky. Daniel tried his phone. No signal, no battery indicator. The screen stayed black no matter how many times he pressed the button. "You won't reach anyone," the waitress said. "You never do." Daniel turned to her. "You're talking like this has happened before." She nodded. "How many times?" he asked. She glanced around the diner. The man by the window, the couple in the booth, the elderly woman. "As many times as there are people here," she said. Daniel's stomach dropped. "You mean—" "We're not residents," the man interrupted. "We're leftovers." Daniel shook his head. "Leftover from what?" "From leaving too late," the woman said. Daniel backed toward the counter. "So you're just stuck." The couple finally spoke, their voices overlapping slightly, as if they'd practiced together. "The town disappears," they said, "but it doesn't forget." Daniel clenched his fists. "Then why am I still here? Why didn't I disappear with it?" The waitress studied him. "Because you arrived before midnight," she said, "and you didn't leave when you were warned." Daniel remembered her words. "You're late. Late for leaving." "What happens now?" Daniel asked quietly. The man by the window smiled faintly. "Now the town waits to see if you're worth keeping." Daniel laughed bitterly. "I don't belong here." The elderly woman leaned forward. "None of us did." A sound echoed outside the diner. Footsteps, slow, measured. Daniel turned toward the windows. In the darkness, something moved. Not a shape, a suggestion, like the idea of a street trying to remember how it used to look. Lights flickered in the distance, streetlights reforming, one by one, suspended in nothing. The town wasn't gone, it was paused, and it was waking up. The waitress spoke softly. "When the town comes back," she said, "it will ask you a question." Daniel swallowed. "What question?" She met his eyes. "Whether you're staying or replacing someone who already did." The clock ticked steadily now. 12:17, 12:18. Outside, shapes began to return. A sidewalk assembling itself piece by piece. The gas station sign flickering back into existence. The outlines of houses emerging like memories forced back into place. Daniel backed away from the window. "You said it disappears every midnight?" he said. "So when does it come back?" The man by the window smiled again, wider this time. "Before the next one." Daniel's heart sank. "You mean every night?" The waitress nodded. "Every night. Midnight to midnight." Daniel looked at the people around him. "How long have you been here?" he asked. The man shrugged. "Long enough to stop asking." The couple squeezed each other's hands for the first time. Daniel's chest tightened. There has to be a way out. The elderly woman's eyes softened. There was.
Daniel leaned toward her. Was? Someone has to leave with the town so someone else can go. Daniel frowned. What does that mean? The lights outside brightened. The town was almost fully back now. The clock on the wall clicked. 12:59. Daniel stepped toward the door. I'm leaving, he said. I don't care how. The waitress blocked his path. You can, she said, but only one person leaves when the town disappears. Daniel's breath caught. And the rest? They stay, she said simply. The clock ticked louder. 12:59:30. Daniel looked at the people around him. They weren't pleading. They weren't angry. They were hopeful. That terrified him more than anything else. 12:59:50. Daniel reached for the door handle. The waitress leaned close and whispered, "The town doesn't disappear at midnight." Daniel froze. "It changes," she said, "and it needs to be full." 12:59:59. Daniel pulled the door open, and as the world blinked again, he finally understood why the town was always there for the next traveler. This has been The Whisper Knows, and tonight, if you ever pass through a town that feels too quiet, don't stay past midnight, because some places don't disappear, they just wait for someone new to take your place. Good night.
Subscribe if you dare to listen.